Hi guys. A couple of weeks ago, it might have even been last week, I did a video regarding guests with health issues and disabilities at Disney World. And I had a comment on that regarding guests with mental health issues such as anxiety and what can Disney do to accommodate them. So I thought I would do a little bit of an addendum to that video. Now, a couple of years ago, Disney updated their what is called their guest assistance program, or the guest assistance card that they gave guests, to what is now known to be the Disability Access Service Card. I have to look it up. The Disability Access Service Card. So if you have some sort of medical condition, be it mental or physical, you are able to go to guest relations and talk with the cast member there and see what they can do to help you. Now, if you get one of these cards, it is not a way for you to skip the line. So this is to the old system had guests, unfortunately, abusing the system, so this prevents that. It is not a way to skip the line. You are absolutely still waiting the same amount of time, but it is, in a way, kind of like a fast pass in that you go to the ride and you can talk with the cast member that's at the front of the ride and let them know that you have this Disability Access Service Card. And what they do is you'll either get a separate area to wait, which might be in a shaded area, so that you're not standing out in the sun if that's the problem and if there's availability, or you will get a return time that is equivalent to if you waited in line. So they'll say, okay, if you were to stand in line right now, the wait is 30 minutes, come back 30 minutes from now, and then you can get right on the ride. So it's not a way to skip the line by any means, but it is just allowing guests who have a hard time physically standing and waiting in line so that they don't have to do that, but they can still enjoy the ride. There are a couple of other things that I think you can do that might help make your trip more enjoyable. So this comment also asked about separate areas for fireworks and parades viewing. Now, I don't know about parade viewing because if it is a less crowded area, you're not going to be able to see. But what I would recommend there are fast pass viewing areas. Those are still crowded, but you don't have to wait quite as long. You still have to be there early though. So I personally, when I've done it, I have had a fireworks viewing, which is fireworks fast pass. So we had a viewing area, but when we got there, it was already full. So we still had to be in the back of that area. So we were still kind of near the front, but we were still behind a lot of people. So I wouldn't do that again for that. But that's just my personal preference. And depending on where you go and when Disney changes things, if it's for Illuminations or if it's for Fantasmic or if it's for a parade, it's going to be different. It's not all exactly the same as my experience. So I just wouldn't do it again for Wishes. And if I did, I would be sure to be there early. But if your issue is you don't want to be in crowds of people, look online and see if you can find places to watch the fireworks that are less crowded. Now, I had mentioned in a video I did about Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, where we watched the fireworks from behind the castle, kind of on the bridge to Tom Sawyer Island near Splash Mountain. Now, we were not able to see the castle projections because those are exclusively on the front of the castle. And there are some of the smaller fireworks we weren't able to see, but we were still able to see a lot of the larger fireworks, and which were most of them. So that was a really great option. We didn't have to wait for a long time, and there were very few people around us. So I thought that was a really, really good option, and I would totally do that again. Another option, if you want to watch the Wishes fireworks at the Magic Kingdom, is to watch them from one of the resorts. Now, I know the Polynesian Village and the Grand Floridian both have the opportunity to watch the fireworks from the resort, and they have the sound system set up so that the music from the park is actually piped in. So you're watching the fireworks and you are hearing the music just like as though you were in the Magic Kingdom. I know at the Grand Floridian, it's in their marina area, and it's right outside Gasparilla, their quick service restaurant. So it's not very crowded. There are always tables available there. You can sit and watch the fireworks from there. Now, again, you're not going to be able to see the castle projections in that case. You'll be able to see the colors, but you won't be able to see like what's actually the pictures on them. But you can certainly see the fireworks, and I think it's a really great option. Or you can also try and finagle a dinner reservation at a restaurant where you can see the fireworks at that time. So I'm thinking like at Narcoossee's, for example, at the Grand Floridian. That's on the water. If Wishes is at, say it's at 10 and you ask for a 9:30 dinner reservation, ask if you can have a table near the window. Now, they may or may not be able to accommodate that. So you have to be okay with them possibly saying, I'm sorry, we don't have any availability by the window right now, and then you missing out on it. But that is an option. And at Epcot, look for, try and get a restaurant that is right around the lagoon where Illuminations takes place. And you might be able to watch Illuminations from inside the restaurant, whereas, if you stood outside around the gate, or around the fence, you might be a little bit more crowded in there. Disney also, if you look on their website and search for guests with cognitive disabilities or guests with an autism spectrum disorder, they do have a list of quiet areas. And the first thing for each park they have listed is their first aid station. So you can go to any of the first aid stations and ask for a quiet room to rest for a while. If you or somebody you're traveling with just need some space and time to kind of decompress a little bit and just get away from crowds, they'll give you that area. And they're super, super nice in the first aid areas. I cannot say enough. I've used them a couple of times just for little things like asking for Band-Aids or Tylenol or something, and they have been absolutely phenomenal. So I highly recommend you take advantage of them. Additionally, you can also find in this list on the Disney website, they list less crowded areas of the parks. For example, they list an alleyway off of Main Street. They list an area near Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse or a little alleyway near Pirates of the Caribbean where you can kind of sit by the side, get a snack, have a Mickey bar or a Dole Whip or something, and kind of be by yourself in a less crowded area. If you know that you're going to be with somebody who is going to need some less crowded time, I guess you could say, try and think of rides that are going to be less crowded and dark and a little bit quieter. For example, Hall of Presidents might be a good option. It's darker. I've never seen that one completely full. You might even be able, if you just talk to the cast member, they might let you wait in the lobby. I know sometimes they do and sometimes they don't, depending on when the next show is, but they might let you just wait in the lobby and it's a quiet open space. But just ask, see if that's an option. Carousel of Progress would be a great one. That is never full, and I think it's about 20 minutes, and you can sit in there, you can have a little bit of space so there's nobody around you, and it's definitely not overstimulating. It's a quieter ride. That's a great option as well. So try and think of those things. I would not recommend, in this case, something like Ellen's Energy Adventure with the dinosaurs or with Dinosaur at Animal Kingdom, because those would obviously be kind of frightening. But in the event somebody in your party does want to ride those rides, you can get a rider switch. And what you do is you go up to the cast member in the front of that ride and ask for a rider switch. So one or two people will ride the ride. They'll wait in line and ride the ride, and then one or two people will wait and off with the guest who has the disability. And then when the first two come off the ride, they give them the rider switch card, and then whoever is waiting and wants to ride, and then they can ride while the first two who rode the first time wait with the disabled guest, and the second two ride without having to wait in line a second time. So I think I'm making it sound a little more complicated than it really is, but it basically just allows everybody to ride who wants to without waiting in line twice and with somebody waiting with the person who doesn't want to or can't ride. So be sure to take advantage of that as well. When I mentioned guest relations and the disability access service card, that can also allow you to ride a ride in a stroller or wheelchair if it's possible. Some rides it is possible, some it is not. But you will also have that as part of that program, they'll say, okay, these are the following rides. You can ride in your stroller or wheelchair, and then again, talk with the cast member. Disney is very, very accommodating. So that's something to remember. I don't think you're going to be going to Disney with something they have never seen before. So just keep that in mind. They're extremely accommodating. They will do whatever they can to help you. Just give them a chance. Be it dining, they will have, I know a lot of people with certain mental health conditions or even autism spectrum disorders have issues with textures. It might be a texture of a food. They can accommodate that at restaurants too. Call the restaurant ahead of time and let them know, say my son eats only pureed foods or something to that effect. And then remind them when you show up for your reservation, and they will accommodate that. Usually. I've never heard of a case where they're not, so that's why I say usually, where they have not been able to accommodate. But yeah, they're really, really great, and they will do whatever they can to help you. I think if you have any sort of disability, be it mental or physical, that Disney World is the place to vacation because, like I said, they have seen it all, and they have really bent over backwards, I think, to help people out. So you just have to, I think, plan your day out well, but then also be willing to go with the flow if something goes awry. If you have a child who ends up just becoming way too overstimulated and can't handle it anymore, and you have to throw in the towel, you have to be willing to do that and be okay with that. So try not to overschedule your day. Allow time for breaks, go back to the hotel to rest, and I think that will really help to kind of reset and rejuvenate you. Something else I had also heard about is how Disney World can be very difficult for guests with PTSD particularly who have recently been at war, because there are a lot of loud noises. If you think about fireworks, and some of the rides are very loud. And even kids and adults who don't have PTSD can also have issues with very loud noises. Bring a pair of foam earplugs. You can also bring noise-canceling headphones, but I think foam earplugs they're easier to pack, and they're a good option because you can still hear. You can still have conversations, but it really dulls the noise down a bit so that it's not quite as startling. So try foam earplugs. Bring a couple of pairs of those, and that might be a good option. Or if you're really worried if a kid will be afraid, I keep saying a kid, or it could even be an adult, if you're worried that somebody is going to be afraid on a ride, have them watch YouTube videos ahead of time so that they kind of know what to expect, and you can explain to them that it's not real, and they can have their earplugs and they can hold your hand and that kind of thing. If they have like a small comfort item, that might be good too. If they need like a stress ball or something, have that with them. They can hold it in their hand on the ride, usually, depending on the ride. I'm thinking something like Haunted Mansion. If you bring a bag with you, a backpack or something like that, you can easily have something small like a stress ball if that's what the person you're traveling with needs, and then hand that to them on the ride, and so that they can just sit there and hold it in their hand if it will bring them comfort. And don't force somebody to ride something, because it is not, it's sometimes you can see these people are just traumatizing their children when they're forcing them to ride something. I had mentioned previously where I was on Haunted Mansion where Dad was trying to make his kid ride, and this kid was just screaming bloody murder, and eventually they bailed. But I was thinking, okay, the kid obviously doesn't want to go. Do you want to be stuck in this little car right next to this kid screaming? You're going to be deaf. And like anybody else on the ride is going to be able to enjoy it with this kid screaming. So, it was just a disaster all around. So if somebody is really that opposed, don't set your heart on riding it with them. In that case, that might be a good option to take advantage of the Rider Switch program. So yeah, I think overall Disney is great for people with, be it mental, physical, any kind of health condition, because they're so willing to accommodate. So I hope you found this helpful, and thanks for watching, guys. Bye.